Hello, welcome to our YouTube channel. So this is day 20 of 30 days React challenge from Codedamn. So let's start day 20. Last exercise, day 19 exercise was not up to the mark. Like for day 19 it should have been a bit hard. Okay, simple pagination, acceptance in this, okay, 52%. In this lab you will build a simple React application that demonstrates pagination functionality. This app will interact with the placeholder API to fetch and display data. Okay, the main features include automatically loading data on page load and fetching additional data upon user interaction. Okay, initial setup: create a basic React application. On app load, fetch the first 10 records from the JSON API. Okay, so if we have to do on app load, so if something is on as soon as the page load, if we have to do something, the most common thing that we normally do is use effect hook. Okay, we can use that. So let's have a look at this. Show the fetched API in a table on the application's main view. Okay, add a button for the next. Ensure the button has the ID next. Okay, display the data. We have to follow some structure, but I won't go into this structure right now because my first target would be just to show data in any format, and then we will follow their convention. This is the API, so let's use that. And instead of last, we will have to change this to 1, and we are getting the data 10 records. Okay, it has ID, title and body. User ID we don't need it. ID, title, body. ID we will need it because we already know that whenever we are trying to create any similar component again and again in React, it requires a unique ID, so it's better to use this ID as unique key. Okay, got it. Okay, so let's create a basic plan right now. First, create a next button to handle click to increase page count. So first it will be 1, then 2, then 3. So if we are increasing page count, that means we will have to save it somewhere. Use state page. That automatically means that we will use state hook for page count to set and update that. Once that is done, fetch data. Fifth, display data. That means we will have to use state object, whatever it is. So, or maybe an object array. Yeah, because it's an array, let's use object array. Okay, so we will have to save whatever data we fetch, we will have to save it in our use state. That's one. And we have to load this entire thing on page load also. So finally we will do use effect hook and display correctly. Finally we'll focus on the UI, IDs and all those kind of things. So let's try to stick with this plan. Let's create a button first. I will close this one and change this. Button ID next and next, and in that on click I will name this function as handle click. We'll call this later. Next button close. Okay, now let's create this function. So I'll create it as an arrow function. Const handle click equals to this. Now once this is done, we have to do the page count increase. So for that we'll have to create a state const page comma. I'm going quickly because if you have done all the previous exercises, it should be pretty straightforward. We have done this like at least 4 to 5 times. Use state, and the default value of that page is 1. Okay, so we'll mention the default value as 1. If you remember from here, the default value is 1. I think so. 0 should not work. Okay, it is working, but I think it is incorrect. Default page value should be 1 only. So page set. Okay, So that means on click we have to increase this page count from 1 to 2. So for that, set state page okay, and let me check this first. Console.log page on click, this is changing. Let me check that. Okay, great, but it is starting with 1. On first click it should get increased to 2, and I know why it is happening. Okay, I think I will have to do this like this. Yes. Why is it happening like this? We are starting with 1, then we are updating it immediately. It should work. It is connected. Let's clear this. 1 2 3. Okay, we'll see this later on, if we actually need this correctly or not, what's happening. We'll see this, no worries. But I know something like this because we had similar problem in one of the previous challenges, like 7 to 8 videos back. Okay, so we have used use state. This is working. Now we have to fetch data. So for that I'll create a separate function, because I'll have to use that in our use effect also. So I'll call this as const fetch data. We don't need to pass anything in this. We will have to create a URL. Const URL is equals to backticks to create a interpolation based string, and instead of 1 I'll mention page. That's what we have, right? And we have this URL. Now let's do this. Fetch URL dot then we'll get the response and we'll log that response for now. Console.log response. Okay, and we'll have to convert that to JSON. Return response.json. Now again the result of this will go into another then, which will name it as, the normal convention is naming it as data, so I'll keep sticking to that normal convention until unless we are doing something different. Console.log, and we can use this data, which will be the final JSON data that we are seeing. This should be the data. Okay, so data dot length, maybe, I'm not sure about this. Let's run this. Okay, everything is working. Next. Okay, we haven't made the API call. Next, and count is 10. Great. So in a way it is working. Now we have to save this to our post or something. So fetch data is working. Now display data, that means we will have to use save it in a state hook. I'll name that as post and title. So sorry, body and title, so I'll name it as post. Set post, actually posts multiple, because it's an array. We will be saving array of 10 objects, right? So posts, let's get rid of this, posts dot set posts data. Now let's do one thing here. We have to show that data also for now, and after that we will use effect. So where can we show it? We'll start the JSX posts.map. We'll take each post in that and convert it into a div or something. Div slash div, and I'll name this as, sorry, I'll use the title. For now I'll just focus on the title. If it is working, that means it should be straightforward after that. And what else? Let's do this. Okay, these posts are visible. Unique child list. Okay, we already had discussed this at the start, that we will have to set the unique ID, key. And for that I'll use post.id. Something like this we can do. Now we should not see this error, but at the same time what I will do is I'll use let me refresh. Now at start the data should not be visible, right? So for that we will use effect, because we want data at the start also. And on what thing this data depend? Like what will be the trigger point to start this? Use effect accepts two things. One is the function, and second is the dependency array. So what all things will trigger this use effect? So our page should trigger this use effect. Okay, and in this I'll simply write, what do we have to do? Fetch data. Yes, now whenever we refresh, the data should be available. Use effect received a final argument that is not an array. Now it should be fixed. It's a dependency array, that's why. Great. Now we just have to show it correctly. So it was not up to the mark of 20th day, but it was something that I think we have done only once in past. I think at the end of the 30 day I might add a review of my own, and if I don't like it I might think about creating my own challenge series. We'll see. It requires a lot of efforts, that I'm sure of. So now we have to create the head and all those kind of things, right? So the head and all those things will be outside of this. So for that, what can we do? Where is the table code that they have mentioned? Table. I don't exactly remember the table code, so my syntax might be a bit incorrect, but let's start. T head is basically the head, and we'll T head, and after that we'll have T body. Okay, and let me check this actually. HTML table T head T body. We have to mention column, right? Okay, TR for table row. Okay, they are also treating that as row, so TR. What all things will this? Let me check this again actually. TR, then TH. What does TH stand for in this? I am not sure. TH, table header or something like this. So I'll just copy this. Let's not fight with HTML. It's not that important right now. TR is table row. In that we have these headings which should be ID, title and body. So ID, title, body. Okay, it is getting converted here, so nice. And in this body we have this TR which is getting repeated. So we'll copy this, actually not copy this, we will just create a TR here, /TR, closing this. The key should be part of this now. and let's cut this also. And in this tr we will have td data. Td is data that I know of. Td, you might be wondering, I don't remember these things, but actually I don't care about remembering these things. Table you use once or twice in the entire code base, so it's fine, and after that you just replicate it, so I don't care about these things actually. I think the first one should be ID followed by title followed by body. That's how it should be, and we will have to cut this from here and it should be inside our body, table body. Let's run this again. Data is visible. Now let's, why is it toggle, click on next, data changed, next, data changed. Okay, it is working. Let's try to check what all things they will be checking on in terms of ID. Button ID is next, that we have already cleared. What all IDs do we have to take care of? Okay, let's run this and see if the test case failed. We'll see. Okay, we have to mention these IDs. Implement a button with next to fetch the next, display the next and record from the API in the table. There should be a total of 20 data rows and header rows. Okay, after clicking, okay, we have to show the previous data also. So for that we will have to copy the previous data, dot 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 posts, and in that dot add, no, push data, and then do this. Not sure if this is very clear code, so let's log this dot length. Let's see, refresh. Okay, something is wrong. Previous data, each child in the list should have this. No, dot length is 1. How is the length 1? Add an array of objects to an append, actually not add, in JS. Okay, let's have a look at how to add an object. Push, okay, push, but we have used push only, so this is correct. Let's not use this and then see what's happening. It should be, I'm using the spread operator, so it should have worked. Okay, I'm getting some call, but fine. Refresh. I'll just pause this and take. Okay, that took some time. Where were we? The previous data was stuck, right? Next. Okay, this one is actually fine. the data, the mistake was from my side, so I'll directly set this data and not use this, and after that we'll see if the, so when I click the first time, the previous data should have 10 length. Okay, so that means the spread operator is working correctly. Let me toggle this, next, toggle again, and we have 10. So that means it is working correctly. Now we just have to focus on this line, which is previous data dot push data or push all in JavaScript array. I'm not sure if it's there or not. Push values, nope. Okay, concatenate. So let's try to use concatenate, and after that let's use this. So refresh, and if we toggle, next, toggle, and it is not concatenating, basically it will return an array. After concatenation it will return an array. So const new is equals to new data is equals to this, and we'll set this new data. I think this should work. Refresh, let's keep it toggled for now, 10, next, and we have it till 20. So now it is working. It took some time because I got confused, but yeah, it's fine. We used the spread operator to create the array, copy the array basically, and then we concatenated the entire data. So I think the test cases should pass now. Great. So this was a bit good exercise, not up to the mark of 20th day, but it's still better. So that's it for now. Thank you. Bye bye.